Howdy, y'all. Let's talk about some love drugs. So yesterday I made a shorter video about how we kind of get into situationships, maybe how we're kind of going about this whole dating thing a little bit wrong. And today I want to break down a little bit more about the actual oxytocin and some of the neurochemicals going on in this situation. So the main one in question, the primary culprit that is causing all the issues in our society, all these situationships, right? But also the loving marriages, is oxytocin. And it's because of our understanding of how oxytocin works that I genuinely believe that, maybe things aren't firing all cylinders when it comes to relationships and finding a partner that you can, tolerate and you actually want to fall in love with and have kids and, a loving family down the road. So let's talk about how this affects men, women, situationships, romantic connections, and your soul. All right. So to begin, oxytocin. Men and women both release this when we have sex. However, women release much more. Now, guys, I want you to ask yourself a question. For anyone that has had sex, and for those that haven't, that's okay. All right? This is open conversation here. All right? I want you to think about this. After you have sex with a woman, what is the number one thing that she starts to do? Cuddling. She can't stay away from you. She wants to be close to you. And the reason for this is that oxytocin releases all over her. It's like a love drug. She just wants to touch you. She wants to hold you. She just can't stop. This is kind of different from guys. Right, guys? We've noticed this. After we bust a nut, we want you to fucking leave. So, does that kind of mean that maybe men aren't releasing the same level of oxytocin during the process of sex? And where does that oxytocin for the men actually come from in totality? Like, what's the best way that we can get our fulfillment of oxytocin so we are not interested in going outside of that relationship and looking at other ladies? That's a big issue. I've done it before, guys. I fucked a girl and then I'm like, meh, well, on to the next. Let's not do that. It's not very mature. It's not very nice. And if you're looking for a wife, let's not ruin, right? Key word, this is not about us anymore. It's about everyone in totality. So if you are an attractive guy and you're just going around sleeping with a bunch of women, unleashing this oxytocin in all of them, right? You think that might cause a little addictive nature in some of these chicks? You release enough oxytocin and you just abandon them? You think they might get an itch that they need to scratch? And it's kind of forcing them into this new age, I don't want to say purely feminist, hookup culture. I know that's what they're pushing for, but genuinely I think the women sleeping around is more so a result of men chasing them and discarding them a lot more. Yes, there is both sides. Both sides are struggling here. All right, guys? But our side we can control. I'm mainly targeting the men, and I would like it if you guys would hold on for a little bit until you give them the girlfriend card. And I'm going to get into why that is. But firstly, let's talk about the mirror effect. Okay? So the mirror effect is where men, usually in a relationship, get the most oxytocin. This is the saying that I put up there that I've heard my entire life. Happy wife, happy life. Why does that actually make sense? Because if the woman during an orgasm releases the most oxytocin, and then her cuddling actually allows for the man to have a mirroring effect in which we release oxytocin, right? Because ultimately guys we're monkeys, okay? If a chick is happy with us, we feel that and we are happy. We like pleasing them, all right? So the mirror effect is what causes these situationships, right? You have sex with the woman, oxytocin releases, that's the love chemical. She thinks she's in love with you. You cuddle with her after sex. Now you're mirroring her. So now you think you're in love with her. Now let's get into why this blows up, and usually it takes around 1 to 3 months. Because this mirror effect has diminishing returns, much like having sex in lust and any drug for that matter, okay? If you keep pumping oxytocin into your body, eventually you're going to need more and more oxytocin to get the same effect, unless there is a change in the underlying emotion that is running that relationship, okay? So if it's lust, that's a pretty low emotion, all right? And once that love drug starts diminishing down, you're going to find yourself in that lower state of being yet again. This is why the bickering starts. This is where the fights start. This is where the anger and the animosity start. This is where the jealousy starts. This is where the phone checking starts. This is where the, oh my God, where the fuck were you yesterday? You were gone for like 15 minutes and you didn't respond to me. Oh my God. Shut up. It's because you keep fucking and you're not creating a relationship. If you just keep sticking your dick in a wet hole and treat it like it's just a wet hole, eventually the wet hole ain't gonna be as wet. I know that's graphic, but that's diminishing returns. And the wetness of the hole is the oxytocin, okay? If you keep pulverizing it and you don't actually love what you're doing, and she doesn't love what you're doing either, it's just the act that's supplying the oxytocin, eventually you will run out and bad things will befall you. That is diminishing returns. If you've never had sex, I'm gonna give you a World of Warcraft example, okay? See, I played Warrior or Paladin. And essentially what those classes are, they're melee, they're plate wearers, they're essentially indestructible, and we will move forward and I'll just cleave you in half. And I fucking hated mages. You know why I hate mages? Because I get one charge that's on like a 15-second cooldown, and then I have to wait. Hopefully they don't move. All right, but so I can deal my damage. Now what they can do is they can cast this spell called Polymorph, and they turn me into a sheep. But the thing is, the first time they turn me into a sheep, it lasts for 8 seconds. The second time, it lasts for 7 seconds. The third time, it lasts for 6. Fourth, fifth, sixth. Keep going. It keeps reducing in the amount of time that the spell affects me. Diminishing returns. If you keep casting the same spell over and over again, but you don't infuse some new emotions into it, you're just relying on the emotion of love, the temporary emotional effect of the spell you're casting, right? Sex magic. Well, then you're going to go towards entropy, towards decay. You're going to go back towards the lust. You have to have the emotion of love in order to compound the sex magic to rise above. I know that sounds a little fucking crazy, but that's why certain relationships work long term and they're happily married, loving for their entire life, versus falling apart after a couple months. Okay? So, how that actually looks is man meets woman. Female releases oxytocin during orgasm. Okay, good. Man mirrors her. Oxytocin goes up as well. Over time, they keep having sex, but it's really just because the guy is bored and the chick thinks she's getting a commitment out of him, but really he's not interested in it. All right, so over time, she's going to need more and more sex to get the same amount of oxytocin. And if she gets the same amount of sex the entire time, let's keep it flat, eventually she's going to start going downwards. All right? And as she goes downwards, the mirror effect of the man is also going to go downwards towards decay. This is why you get those situationships, guys. This is the exact reason why. The mirroring effect and diminishing returns of the oxytocin over time. You build up a tolerance to the drug. You don't actually build a relationship of loving nature between the two parties. This is what happens. All right? And the equation is very simple. Sex out of a state of lust plus mirror effect, lust, equals high to low. And I'm saying attraction goes from high when the oxytocin hits to low over time, because the oxytocin eventually is not going to mean anything. You're going to be sitting there saying, well, you know what? I can have sex with this person all day, but I'm sick of her shit. And she's probably thinking the exact same thing. They're like, oh my God, he's good for nothing. All he does is he's got that demon dick. Right? This is why girls sometimes go back to the bad boys. Because they got that dick. They got that oxytocin dick. Okay? They just want that. They don't actually want the guy. They just want that. Alright? But this is what we need to start avoiding. This state of lust. Because I get it. Oxytocin feels fucking wonderful. It feels great to bust a nut in them gushy walls and then cuddle afterwards next to the fire. I understand, boys. However, it will fall apart and it will cause you damage over time. So let's be careful and let's switch our ways. Now, what am I suggesting here we do? The love equation is very simple. However, it requires you guys to be men. It requires you to grow up a little bit and to keep your dick in your fucking pants. And I don't want to hear that argument in the comment section. Be like, oh my God, like, what if the girl just comes after me? What is she going to do? Rape you? Shut the fuck up. Wait, are you serious? She's going to rip your dick out of your pants? That sounds like a great fucking time to me. But there's almost never a situation in which that's going to happen. You can say no. You can say, no, we're going to wait until I'm ready for a commitment. All right? And you know what her response is going to be? She's going to respect you for it. She will absolutely respect you for it. Because what you essentially said to her is, no, I actually don't want you for just your pussy. Okay? I want to get to know you. That's ultimately what these women want. They want you to fall in love with them, and then the sex is just kind of like there. And it's, trust me, it's a benefit. It's awesome. It's great, but it's not the main reason you are there. You're there for her because long term, you're going to have to put up with her. You're going to have conversations with her. You're going to have children with her. You're going to spend all your time and meals with her. Vacations with her. Not with her pussy. Get it? Good. So, commitment. The base of what a commitment is, it's out of love. The state of love is what creates commitment. Because commitment is that you are willing to stand your ground and say, no, I don't care what happens, I'm staying. I'm committed to this, I want you. And that, right there, is the moment in which you should have sex with the woman. The reason for this is the most oxytocin released in a man is during commitment. That's when we fall in love. When we realize that we're willing to die for this bitch, yeah, it's game over, dude. It's game over. And if you have sex with her at that exact time and it's the first time you've had sex, that is how you form a soul bond. That's a soul pair. It's game over. You will never want anything else. Trust me. It hits so different. Okay? So commitment lined up with the first time you have sex. So max oxytocin for her, max oxytocin for you, and you both care about each other out of a state of love, and then you just add more love, oxytocin on top, the sprinkling. That is how you bake a successful relationship cake. And guys, if you haven't figured it out, I fucking love cake. I love cake. Cake is good. And I like eating my cake all the time. And the thing is, I like it when my cake likes being eaten by me. Alright? So guys, put your dick away, keep it in your pants, and actually focus on getting to know these women. Alright? Focus on asking them questions. And it might be difficult at the start. You might actually go out on dates and then reject these women or turn them down or realize, hey, you know what? This isn't going to work long term. And so you'll have to make some sacrifices. At some point, you're going to have to make that gap, that bridge to the other side and realize, hey, you know, if I don't see a long-term future with her, I probably shouldn't sleep with her. That's called growing up. A lot of men will never get to that point because, you know, they're just obsessed with sex. They're in a state of lack. They're like, oh, well, I got to have it. No, you don't. Trust me, life is so much easier if you just go celibate and you attract in your queen, okay? On this channel, guys, you know what it is. I'm King Duffy. I'm not leaving my fucking castle. All right? My castle is already set up. I already got the moat. I got the fucking walls. I got the ballista. I got a fucking dragon. Okay? So why would I leave my castle to go out to the town, to the streets, to find a queen? No. No. The queens will come to you. That's how this shit works. Do king shit, and queens come to you. And then figure out if it's the right queen for you. And that's not based on how good your dick fits in there, boys. It ain't. Almost every girl, it's always good. It's always good, okay? But we need to figure out personality-wise, relationship-wise, emotion, consciousness, all these things, belief systems, all these things. Does it match? Does it fit? And then once that fits, and once you are willing to put the commitment out, that is when you should partake in busting up them guts. All right? Love you guys. Be good.